I opened my grandfather's locked suitcase after 40 years. The suitcase had been sitting in my grandfather's attic for over 40 years. Nobody knew what was inside. Nobody had ever opened it. And according to my grandmother, nobody was supposed to. But after both of them passed away, I found a small key hidden inside an old Bible. Attached was a note with only 6 words. Open it when I'm gone. Story: my grandfather was a quiet man. He never talked much about his past. Whenever someone asked about his younger years, he would smile and change the subject. As kids, my cousins and I were fascinated by the old suitcase in the attic. It was made of dark leather, covered in scratches. A rusted lock held it shut. Every time we asked about it, Grandpa would say, "Some stories are better left closed." Then he'd laugh. But his eyes never laughed with him. After his funeral, I helped clean the house. Most of the attic contained ordinary things. Old furniture, boxes of photographs, Christmas decorations. And there, in the corner, was the suitcase. Exactly where I remembered it. Waiting. The key from the Bible fit perfectly. The lock clicked open. For a moment I hesitated. Then I lifted the lid. Inside were dozens of letters. Hundreds of photographs. Newspaper clippings. And one thick journal. Everything was neatly organized. As if someone wanted it discovered. The journal began in 1968. My grandfather had been traveling through Europe. One entry immediately caught my attention. Today I met the woman I was supposed to marry. The next page contained a photograph. A beautiful young woman standing beside a train station. I had never seen her before. And she wasn't my grandmother. I kept reading. Over the following months they fell deeply in love. They planned a future together. A wedding. A home. Children. Then one day she disappeared. Without explanation. Without a goodbye. Without a trace. My grandfather searched for years. He traveled across countries. Contacted relatives. Hired investigators. Nothing. She was simply gone. The final letter from her was never mailed. It had been returned unopened. Then I found a newspaper clipping. My hands froze. The woman had died in a car accident. 3 weeks before she was supposed to meet him. She had never abandoned him. She had never stopped loving him. She simply never got the chance to return. Tucked inside the journal was one final envelope. Addressed to me. Not my father. Not my grandmother. Me. Inside was a short message. If you're reading this, you've learned the truth. I loved your grandmother deeply. But part of my heart always wondered what life might have been. Don't make the mistake I did. Tell people how you feel while you still can. Ending at the bottom of the suitcase I found one final item. A small velvet box. Inside were 2 wedding rings. Never used. Waiting for a wedding that never happened. For over 40 years my grandfather kept them. Not because he couldn't move on. But because he never wanted to forget. That night I called someone I had been afraid to confess my feelings to. Because sometimes the saddest love stories aren't the ones that end badly. They're the ones that never get the chance to begin. The end.